All right, today we're diving into one of Amsterdam's most famous and, frankly, most divisive buildings, the NEMO Science Museum. Now, on one hand, it's an architectural masterpiece, a place of pure discovery. But on the other, it's a huge source of debate. So, what is the deal with this place? Let's find out. And this right here is the paradox in a nutshell. You've got people like Christian calling it a 10-star experience, a total playground for the mind. And then you have someone like Sander who just says, terrible, never again. I mean, how can one museum create two completely opposite experiences? That's exactly what we're going to unpack.
So to really get Nemo, you have to start with the building itself. Because you see, it's not just a museum. It's a massive piece of public architecture that totally transformed Amsterdam's waterfront.
Okay, so the architect, the legendary Renzo Piano, was given a pretty wild challenge. Build this thing directly on top of a busy car tunnel. And his solution? Absolutely brilliant. He created this incredible ship-like structure that looks like it's literally rising out of the water. It's a perfect nod to the city's deep connection to the sea.
But Piano's big idea was so much more than just a museum. He looked at Amsterdam, which is famously flat, right? And he felt it was missing a piazza. A public square up high where people could gather and get a real view. So he designed the whole sloping roof to be exactly that. A gift to the city where literally anyone can just walk up and see Amsterdam from a totally new angle completely for free.
And this contrast is just fascinating. It really gets to the heart of what Piano was doing. The outside is totally extroverted. It's this big, bold, green copper shape that practically screams, "Come hang out." But the second you walk inside, everything changes. It becomes introverted. He called it a noble factory, with simple gray walls and hardly any windows, all so that your attention is laser-focused on one thing, the science.
So let's head inside into that noble factory where all the magic is supposed to happen. This is the heart of NEMO, the hands-on experience that draws hundreds of thousands of people every single year. The whole museum is basically a 5-story journey. You start on the ground floor with phenomena, getting your hands on basic scientific principles. From there, you climb up through floors dedicated to technology, the universe, and even the science of, well, you. And it all culminates on that amazing rooftop piazza we were just talking about. And look, when it all comes together, it's incredible. Just like Christian says here, it's a place where you're not just looking at exhibits, you're doing science. It's meant to be fun, interactive, and make you curious. It's designed to make you smile. But there's a flip side. That incredible popularity, it has a dark side. The very thing that makes NEMO a huge success is also, ironically, the source of its biggest complaints. I mean, think about it. You've got a world-class building, awesome hands-on exhibits. It sounds like the perfect day out. So what on earth could be the problem? This is the problem. The crowds. This review from Wouter just nails the frustration so many people feel. You can't see anything, you can't do anything, because you're just stuck in a sea of people and endless lines. The entire experience just collapses. And you can literally see this paradox in the numbers. A 7.1 out of 10 rating. Now, that doesn't sound terrible, right? But what it's hiding is the extremes. It's the mathematical average of thousands of people having the best day ever and thousands of others having an absolutely miserable time. Yeah, when you actually read the bad reviews, it's like a broken record. It's always the same 3 things: insane crowds, long queues, and just overwhelming noise and sensory overload. And what's really telling is that even the time slots they use to control the flow don't seem to be solving the basic problem of too many people in one place. The being too popular isn't the only controversy NEMO has had to deal with. For decades, the museum was caught up in a totally different fight. One that really makes you think about where the money for science education should come from. So check this out. In 2021, activists showed up and staged this artistic intervention, turning the water at the museum's entrance black. A pretty dramatic statement, right? But what were they protesting? Well, their target was a partnership that had been going on for 90 years between the Science Museum and the oil and gas giant Shell. Groups like Fossil Free Culture argued that it was completely wrong for a place dedicated to educating kids about science to be taking money from a company so central to the climate crisis. And they didn't just protest, they got creative. They installed their own museum-style plaque, calling it the Shell Effect. It laid out the company's controversial history,
basically trying to force visitors and the museum itself to confront the reality of that sponsorship. And then, the activists won, almost out of nowhere. Just as they were planning their next big protest, they realized the Shell logo was just gone, wiped from the sponsor wall. After 90 years, the partnership was quietly ended. It was a massive victory and a major milestone that made Amsterdam's entire cultural sector free of fossil fuel funding.
Okay, so we have this brilliant design, the potential for a really fun day, but also the very real risk of crowds, plus this whole complicated history. Knowing all that, how can you actually go to NEMO and have a good time?
Here's a little blueprint based on what other visitors have learned. The #1 tip: avoid peak hours at all costs. Apparently, weekdays after 2 p.m. can be a lot calmer. You also have to manage your expectations, especially if you go during a school holiday. It's going to be chaos. And hey, don't forget, that amazing rooftop is totally free to visit, even if you don't have a ticket for the museum itself. And all this really leaves us with a much bigger question, doesn't it? Because NEMO's problem isn't unique. As our favorite museums and cultural spots get more and more popular, we have to ask ourselves, how do we stop them from becoming victims of their own success? How do we protect the very magic that made us want to go there in the first place? That's the real challenge for every great institution right now.